All right. Hello, Sarah. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing
Good.
well.
Let's get started. So let's dive right in.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And I think what's great about this, Juliana, is that it's not long. We're not asking people to take an hour out of their day, right? It's just these quick tidbits, like you said, easily digestible to jump on, listen, take some notes, and then go back and refresh your memory. And that's what I think our purpose of this is too, is just to break it down into manageable pieces, because some of this, owning a home, especially for the first time, can be a little intimidating. And quite frankly, I certainly haven't seen all the information out there on helping me be prepared. When I was buying my first home, even my second one, right? Like, where's the information out there to help us be more prepared for, closing costs and moving costs and additional expenses of owning a home and such. And so, I really love that we're doing this with people. So thank you for being here with me and connecting through this process, because I think it's valuable information that we get to share with people. So
Absolutely. I'm so excited to be a resource. So, speaking of the cost of owning a home, everyone just thinks, okay, I need to save up for down payment
mm,
and I'm good to go.
right.
Right. And you and I know that is not the case. There's a lot of little
Mhm.
details to discuss. So I think the easiest way to go about this is kind of just discuss like in order of how things go
Sure.
in a transaction. So of course, before the transaction starts, you have saved that down payment. That is a crucial amount to have.
Right.
And that amount ranges.
Mm.
And this is why I always harp, I step on my soapbox and tell everyone, get with the lenders early. I don't care if you're 3 months out or 2 years out, get with them early and get that lighthouse set up. I always say, like, we need to know where we're going and where we're heading
Mhm.
to. Because if we don't have that major goal of saving, we're just going to keep spending willy-nilly, right?
Right.
So having that goal of the down payment is
Mhm.
crucial. Anything
And
you want to add to
also,
that? Yeah.
well, and I was just going to say, talking with a lender, there are a lot of programs available, right? And so that also
So
allows
many.
you to
Mhm,
to understand what programs you may qualify
mhm,
for. So it's not
mhm.
just as easy as, hey, this is the amount of home that I qualify for, so I need to save, X amount of dollars for down payment. But understanding what programs are available, and there are a lot of different loans, and I know we're going to talk about different loan programs later on,
Yeah.
but this is important to mention now, right? In
Yep.
that way, so you're talking to a lender, so you know what it is. I say, don't go into this blindly, right?
Right.
Have the information at your fingertips, because quite frankly, it's out there. You just
Yeah.
have to take a little bit of time and seek it out, but it allows you to be more prepared through this process. So knowing what programs you may or may not qualify for is going to be crucial too.
So crucial. And I think later on what we'll do is we'll have a local lender expert on. And
Awesome.
because I'm a real estate agent. That is not, it's our job to know and understand, our client's scenario and kind of explain to the lenders what's going on and help them find the right program for them. But ultimately, the lender is the one to guide you in that direction. And also,
Mhm.
different lenders offer different products. So,
Right.
and that's a whole nother thing that we can go down, right? But
Right.
up front, everyone knows about the down payment. So that's a big first step, is getting with the lender. Okay, what might we be looking at based on these different programs, based on these different scenarios?
Hmm.
So what happens when you get under contract on a home? You typically have about 3 business days to basically put down a deposit on the home. You're telling the seller, I'm serious about this home. Here's my earnest money deposit. And earnest money typically runs about 1% of the purchase
Hmm.
price of the home. So you're buying a $450,000 home. Your earnest money will be anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000. That money has to be immediately accessible from your bank account. They will take out that money within 3 days of getting under contract, you'll bring the earnest money to the title company, and the title company will take that and hold that. Now, in the state of Colorado, right? It's different per state.
Sure.
Some call it escrow, some don't have title companies, but in the state of Colorado, typically the title company holds your earnest money. And then once you deposit that, you get your receipt for the earnest money. That's sent to all parties. And that way we know, okay, these buyers are serious. They've brought in their cash. So having that amount in your bank account, crucial step.
Right.
So another important thing to know about the earnest money is that at the end of the transaction, when you close on the home, that earnest money goes back towards your bottom line. So it's not a down payment. It's just a deposit that gets put on, like say, you have to come to closing with $10,000, let's say, just for an example. So at the end of the transaction, you would bring $10,000 less earnest money.
Awesome.
So say the earnest money was 5,000, you bring to closing, you have to bring to closing 10, you already put your earnest money in, so you only bring 5,000 to the table. Did I explain that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great. It's great information, because I don't think a lot of people, realize that. Right. And I think closing costs can be very confusing for people just in general. Right. And so this is great information, knowing it's not an additional fee. Really, it's taken off at the end, but it's the upfront that you need. Financing isn't going to cover this. Right.
Exactly.
So this is something that needs to come out of your own bank account.
100%. Exactly. Okay. So after the earnest money, the next thing that's going to happen is you're going to get your inspection. The inspection will cost anywhere from, just depending on how many add-ons you have, sewer, radon, mold, anything like that, any due diligence things. So it could be anywhere from $400 to usually around $600. So you'll need that money up front. Awesome. Very, very important for that. And typically you just call the inspector with your credit card or debit card or what have you, write a check, whatever is easiest for you.
Sure.
Then on top of that, then next is going to be the appraisal. Now, typically the appraisal will be on kind of part of the closing costs. So it'll be on your last statement when you're closing. Around $700 is what you should plan to pay for the appraisal. Sometimes what they do is they'll call you and they'll put a credit card on file, because they'll have a policy that if the appraiser goes out and actually does the appraisal, but for some reason you fall out of contract, you'll still pay a certain amount.
Okay.
So they will get the credit card up front, and then typically you'll pay, that'll just be part of your closing costs at the end that you bring to closing.
Awesome.
So that's that. What else? Home warranty.
Yes.
So let's get into this a little bit. So you're buying a home, you have your down payment, you have your earnest money, you're ready for inspection, appraisal. What else do we need to prepare for? We're owning a home now, like all the costs are on us. Something breaks, that's on you, right?
Right.
So it's really, really important, especially as a new homeowner, because typically, first-time homeowners aren't going to have a plethora of money to put down, or, hopefully you have a safety net, of course, right? We talked about that before, but is an additional protective layer to have that home warranty, a 1-year home warranty, and your realtor can get it for you at a discounted price. Actually, it's less for the general public. Generally, the type that I will provide for my clients is like the platinum level, and is around $500 or so for the year.
Wow.
And it covers plumbing, HVAC, and all the systems that you can think of. And so
that's awesome.
It's a really good, it's not only, going to save you monetarily, because it never fails. You close and the next day the dishwasher goes out, right?
Right.
or the HVAC, it's always going to be something. So
Mhm.
having that peace of mind, especially for first time home buyers, is so, so important. So I really wanted to touch upon that.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I might jump, if it's okay with you, jump back for just a second here
Yeah.
because, we're talking about all these things and I don't want people to get freaked out. Like, how do I make sure I have this money saved,
Mhm.
right? How do I make sure I can do this? And,
Yeah.
you know, I always say first you have to have a budget written, right? You
Mhm.
have to have your budget. And, in our last episode, we talked a little bit about that. So I'll just throw out, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch that last episode because we talk, about that a little bit more. But and we kind of go over the basics of writing your budget. But this part of your process, your journey, I think what we're talking about right now really is best done several months in advance, right? Because you want to have these dollars saved up,
Mhm.
ready to go. If you know me, you know what I'm all about. And I just don't believe that there's any reason why you should put any of this on a credit card.
Mhm.
There's, if you're doing your due diligence, you want to set yourself up for success here.
Mhm.
And, owning, having a mortgage is one thing and that's great, but going into the house with other debt on top of it, I just don't like to see clients do that or anybody, right? You're setting yourself up for it, it's just tough. It's
Yeah.
it's just tough. So let's work on paying cash, and having these. So on top of your down payment, having these other fees and all of your closing costs, right, saved. And assuming that you have your budget written, I don't want you to be house poor, right? And so then you need to have, if your budget is written, what discretionary funds you'll have available.
Mhm.
So the discretionary funds are like the extra dollars after everything that's important to you is taken care of.
Mhm.
Then you'll have some extra ones. And since your budget's different each month, right, you have the choice then to build these fees into that budget.
Mhm.
And so, after you've talked with your realtor, right, you get an idea of what typical current closing costs are.
Mhm.
Again, you're never going to get anything exact, but at least an estimate. And you've talked to the lender, right? So you know what programs you may qualify for. So you've got a better idea of, some of your fees and the costs. Now it's time to take that information, right?
Yeah.
And you can start putting it in. I call it like a new home sinking fund,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
And the sinking fund is simply a savings account that you
Right.
contribute funds to each month over a period of time for the specific purpose of covering these closing costs.
Mhm.
And again, it's that those dollars that you need. And even if you don't need some of these until the end, right? You still have to come to the table with funds. You
Right.
still have closing costs at the end that you need to pay for.
Right.
And so don't spend the money before you get it. So I like people to have it, in their account,
Right.
but just be prepared. And so, and again, knowing what your budget looks like so you can be prepared for those home warranty
Mhm.
fees on top of, a new mortgage. It's probably going to be different than what you're paying for rent,
Mhm.
right? And a lot of your monthly expenses are going to change. And so you have an opportunity looking at your budget to account for that new home warranty that you're going to be paying for also,
Yep.
right?
Yep. I love that. And typically closing costs can run anywhere from 3 to 7% of the cost of the home. So that's where you want to work with a lender that is willing to put in the work with you.
Mm,
Hey, let's like choose a home. Let's look at a home that you might be interested in. We're not ready, but let's look at a home. Let's go through the closing costs and the fees to see what this looks like. A good
right.
lender will be willing to do that with you.
Awesome.
And I've, it's taken me a while, but I've finally found some people that are willing to do that for my clients. And I just love it. And I trust them. And I know that my clients are getting the right information and they're prepared. So that makes
Well,
me
and
happy.
you're helping them, you're setting them up for success, right? It's not just about, hey, let me help you buy a home, right? And you can pay me. You're really setting all of your clients up for success in owning a new home.
Yeah.
And what does that look like long term and not just let's get you into house, right?
Right.
We don't want people to be house poor or to,
No,
be hit with
no,
these unexpected
no.
costs. And so let's help prepare.
Yeah.
Um, And, and even thinking about that too, I think sometimes we don't think about moving costs, right? That's another
Exactly.
fee
That's a
that
sneaky one.
it is. And we're like, we
Really
get
is.
down to it, we're like, hey, we're moving. Now what?
Yeah,
Moving can be costly. And so,
very.
there's a lot of options when it comes to moving costs, right? You
So
could
many.
hire it
Yeah.
out completely.
Mhm.
You could ask your friends and family to help. You can
Mhm.
do a little bit at a time, depending on if you're currently renting, right? If you've got a, say, a month, right, overlap,
Right.
so you can do it a little bit at a time. You
Yeah.
can, seek help from some volunteer groups even, right?
Mhm.
There are some
Mhm.
groups that need volunteer hours, and so maybe this is an opportunity to have them, you know, help you out,
That's
right? And
such a good idea. Yeah.
and you really decide, at the end of the day, you decide what's important to you and what you can truly afford to do, but don't forget to budget it in, and um you know look at fuel costs, right?
And
If you have to get
people, yeah,
storage,
the fuel costs, right?
trailers.
And the boxes even, but
Yes.
packing boxes, you need a lot, and people don't realize how expensive that can add up. It's not necessarily like per box is expensive, but if you need 20 to 30 moving boxes, it can add up. And that's where, ask your realtor, hey, for me, I get emails all day like, hey, who needs moving boxes? So like,
Mm,
lean on your realtor for that information too. And hey, but you don't know what you don't know. You don't know to ask these
right.
things. And that's okay. That's what the professionals are here for, to open
Hmm.
your eyes to see all the
Right.
possibilities.
I just see it a lot that we forget about the moving
Yeah.
costs. And Julianne, I know we're kind of coming up on time, but I just want to bring up one more thing here.
Yeah.
And can we talk about furnishing our new home really
Thank you
quick?
so much for bringing that up. Yeah. Because that's another one. And a very important point here is, okay, you're like, oh, we're a week out from closing. We need to get a new couch. You run over to American Furniture Warehouse, you open, and they have a special going on, right? Like
Hmm.
20% off if you open up our credit card.
Right.
And guess what's not going to happen? You're not going to close on that house because you're going to mess up those debt to income ratios. Underwriting is not going to be happy.
Mm.
So we need to be really mindful about that on one hand. And of course, on the other hand, furnishing a home can be very pricey.
Hmm.
So I'm sure you have so many tips and tricks. I personally love Facebook Marketplace.
Yes.
I've also come across Buy Nothing on Facebook. It's a group that's specific, it's all around the country, but specific to like the area in the town that you're in. So for
Hmm.
example, I'm in Buy Nothing Northeast Fort Collins, and there's free posts all day, every day of
Awesome.
free things that people are just giving away. So
Wow.
there's saving tips right there.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, you get to decide what's really important to you. Do you, is it important to you to get new furnishings right away? Will the things that you have currently, will they work for a period of time? Because let's be honest, you need to fill out your space, to feel it. You need to feel out your new space a little bit, right? To see, how do you want to use these areas? Do you want a bigger dining room table, or do you want something smaller because you want a hutch in there? So live in your home for a little while so you can
I love that.
determine where you want and how you want to use each space. And
Mhm.
I'm going to be honest, I see so many people going into debt buying new furniture, and they wish they hadn't, because it's interest rates oftentimes can stack up on you. You get,
Right.
sometimes you can get in like 0% interest or no payments for 6 months or something. Well, here's the thing, 6 months come and go, and we've
Oh,
forgotten about it, and now we owe because life has happened. And so again, this goes back to, don't spend the money before you get it. Plan
right.
it out a little bit.
Right.
The debt causes far more stress than sitting on an older couch ever will. I guarantee you that,
That
right?
is
So,
so true.
and that's a great point that you brought up. Don't go and mess up your
Please don't.
credit, right? Your credit score, and tack on more loans before you're ready to close, because
Oh, no, no, no.
you've just caused yourself a lot more trouble. So,
Oh, yeah. And no one is going to be happy. The sellers won't be happy. Yeah. It's just a big old mess. Don't go buy a new car,
no.
like,
Right.
But
Right.
we always send, like, the lender sends out this list, I send out the list, like top 10 things not to do while you're under contract, right? So
I love it. I love
it's
it.
it's it's but things people don't think of. And you know, I hear even realtors make
Mm.
this mistake too. They're like, I can't believe I did this. Like, you know, it's easy to do because you get so like caught up in everything and you're just like go go go, but
Mhm.
you know, just take a second to think, and we're here to help and walk you through step by step, and no question is too silly. I swear, like, please don't be afraid to ask questions, because
Right.
even if you think it's a dumb question, I don't care. Please. Like, my biggest thing is people not feeling like they're in the dark and not feeling
Mhm.
confused about things. So
And if you ask the question, you don't fully understand the answer, ask your realtor or the lender
yeah,
or anybody, right, to go
right.
through it. And I say it quite a bit. I said, "Oh, hold on. That was like foreign language. Like it went in and it's not processing. So go through it again with me, right?" It's
Right.
okay to we want you to be really comfortable with the information that you're getting, right?
Mhm.
Don't go into something blindly. If you don't understand it, ask whoever to explain it differently or to go through it
Right.
again. Know exactly what it is that you're doing. So
Right.
you feel really prepared and you're not going to say afterwards, "Oh, I didn't understand that," or "I didn't know." Let's not
Mm.
do that, right? So
I don't want that. Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much. This was, I think, quick and digestible, and
mhm,
just be on the lookout for the next one. We'll talk about what that looks like here, but we're going to get these uploaded for you guys and get these accessible, and we'll have it on YouTube. We'll put them on Facebook, Instagram, all the things, so that whatever, you know, platform you're on, you have access to this information. So I'm so excited.
awesome. Yes, and I'm going to throw in there real quick that I think we're looking at adding in some information on first time home sellers too, right? So what does
Yes.
that look like selling your
Yes.
home, because it is a little bit different, right? And
Mhm.
and so take this information and use it, but keep your eyes and ears open for the next episodes coming out, and share it with other people that you might know who are going
Yeah.
through this. So if you hear it,
Good
we're going to
point.
ask, I'm going to ask our watchers and our listeners to share this around, please, and share it with the
Yeah.
people that you trust and you care about, and,
Yeah.
add a little bit of value to their life and help them through this process. So,
So
um,
important. I love that.
on that note, thank you. We
Right.
will see you
And
guys soon.
okay, until next time.
Alrighty. Bye bye.
Bye.